Once upon a time there was an old goat. She had 7 kids. She loved them as much as only a mother can love her children. She was going to go into the forest, bring herbs and branches for lunch. She called all her children and warned them to be afraid of the evil wolf. He often pretends, but you can immediately recognize him by his rude voice and black paws. The kids understood everything and assured their mother that they would be very careful.
Okay.
The old goat set off calmly. Little time has passed. Suddenly, someone knocked on the door and shouted in a rude voice that the kids should immediately open it. But the kids from the rough voice realized that it was a wolf. They answered that it was not mother's voice. Her voice was kind and thin, and this voice was very rude, which means it was a wolf. Then the wolf went to the merchant and bought himself a large piece of chalk. He ate it, and his voice became thin. He came back, knocked on the door, and in a thin voice asked the kids to open it. The wolf put its paw on the window and waits. And the kids saw her and answered that the mother's paws were not black, but white, which means it was a wolf. Then the wolf ran to the bakery and asked to give him some dough. The wolf anointed his paw with the dough. The villain approached the door for the 3rd time, put his white paw on the window and knocked. They saw the kids that the paw was white, and thought that it was their mother. They opened the door, but there was a wolf in front of them. They got scared and began to scatter in all directions. One kid jumped under the table, another on the bed, the 3rd on the stove, the 4th into the kitchen, the 5th into the closet, the 6th under the sink, and the 7th hid in the grandfather clock. But the wolf found them all, opened its jaws and swallowed one by one. Only one thing he did not find: the youngest, who hid in the clock. Having eaten his fill, the wolf left. He stretched out on a green meadow under a tree and fell asleep. Soon an old goat came home from the forest. Oh, what did she see there? The door was wide open. The table, chairs, benches were overturned. The wash basin was broken. Pillows and blankets were thrown from the bed. She began to look for her children, but she could not find them anywhere. I called them by name, but no one answered. She went up to the clock, and in response there was a thin voice of the youngest kid. She took him out of there, and he said that a wolf came and ate everyone. How the goat cried for her poor children. Finally, she left the house, and the youngest kid ran after her. She came to the meadow, so a wolf was lying by the tree and snoring, so that the branches were trembling. She looked at him from all sides and saw that in his swollen belly something was moving and floundering. She guessed that these were her children, and was very happy that they were still alive. She told the kid to run home as quickly as possible and bring scissors, a needle and thread. Then the goat cut the belly of the wolf with scissors, and from there one kid stuck out its head. And then the others jumped out, all 6, and nothing bad happened to them. What a joy it was! They began to hug their mother, jump and dance. Then the old goat said it would be nice to teach the wolf a lesson while he was still sleeping. They pulled stones and stuffed them into the wolf's belly. An old goat sewed up his belly, but he did not notice anything, never even moved. The wolf slept, got to his feet and felt such a thirst in his belly that he decided to drink water from the well. He barely approached the well, bent down to the water, and heavy stones pulled him to the bottom of the well. 7 kids saw this and began to dance for joy with their mother. That's how they taught the evil wolf a lesson. A long time ago, poor man Alibaba lived with his wife Zainab in a distant eastern country. He made his living by hard work. He chopped wood in the forest and sold it in the market. Once, while working, Alibaba noticed that a whole detachment of horsemen was galloping towards him. Out of fear, he climbed a tree and hid in the foliage. The riders stopped under a tree and removed the sacks full of gold from the horses. There were exactly 40 of them, led by the one-eyed chieftain Hassan. Alibaba immediately guessed that these were robbers who had returned with their prey.
Oh no!
While Alibaba was trembling with horror, the chieftain approached a rock nearby and whispered an incantation. Suddenly an inconspicuous iron door overgrown with grass opened in the rock.
Cool!
The robbers entered the cave, hid all the stolen gold there, took the empty bags and rode back into the forest. After making sure that there were no robbers, Alibaba descended from the tree.
Cool!
He went to the secret door and whispered the spell he had heard from the chieftain. The door flew open.
Okay.
Alibaba saw a huge cave full of gold, silver, expensive fabrics and diamonds. Alibaba looked around, quickly grabbed 2 bags of gold, loaded them onto the donkey and rushed home. Returning to his wife, Alibaba showed her the sacks of gold. Delighted with wealth, they began to count coins. But the couple did not succeed because there were too many coins. The money should have been measured with a special cup, but poor Alibaba did not have it. Then Zainab decided to take the cup from Alibaba's rich brother Qasim. Qasim himself was burning with curiosity. He could not understand why the beggar Alibaba needed a measuring cup for gold. Therefore, he smeared the bottom of the bowl with honey to find out exactly what the spouses would measure. When Alibaba returned the bowl, Qasim noticed that gold coins had stuck to the honey at the bottom. He realized that Alibaba was hiding wealth from him. Then Qasim came to his brother and threatened to inform the king about him if Alibaba did not tell the whole truth. The frightened Alibaba told Qasim about the robbers, the cave and even about the spell that opens the secret door. In the morning Qasim took 10 donkeys and headed to the cave. After casting a spell, he went inside. The untold wealth of the cash turned Qasim's head. He danced for a long time among gold and precious stones, stuffing his bags with coins. Suddenly the sound of hooves was heard outside the door. The robbers have returned. Qasim tried to hide behind sacks of gold, but the robbers found, tied up and kidnapped him. The one-eyed chieftain immediately realized that Qasim was not the only one who knew about the cash in the cave. Then the robber went to the city and learned that a certain Alibaba had previously been a poor man and now suddenly became rich.
Cool!
Adam followed Alibaba home and marked his door with a black cross to come at night and take revenge. By evening, Alibaba's wife went out into the garden to water the donkeys. She saw the cross and immediately realized that this sign was not good. Then she painted the same crosses on all the neighboring houses. At night, the robbers returned and saw that all the doors were marked with a black cross. They could not find Alibaba's house. Their plan failed. The next day, the chieftain hung 40 large jugs on the donkeys, hid the robbers in them, and set off for the city. At the bazaar, he pretended to sell butter, and he himself again tracked down Alibaba. When it got dark, the chieftain knocked on the house of Alibaba. The robber asked to spend the night, and in return offered to present 40 large jugs of oil. And Alibaba agreed. He cordially received the chieftain, and even allowed to drive the donkeys into the yard. While preparing dinner for a guest, Alibaba's wife noticed that they had just run out of butter. Then she went out into the courtyard to pick up the oil that their guest had brought. But suddenly in the jugs there was a rustle and whisper of robbers. Then Zainab ran to the kitchen, grabbed a cup of boiling water and poured it on one of the robbers. He got scared, screamed, jumped out of the jug and ran towards the mountains. The whole detachment rushed after him in fright. Realizing that he too would soon be uncovered, the chieftain ran out of the house and disappeared without a trace. And Alibaba and his wife lived happily ever after. And the robbers never returned.